So it's currently 1 AM and I'm just about to bleach my hair because it's currently really hot during the day, so I feel like it's better to do it at night. Just because if you do bleach while it's hot, it actually processes quicker, so it means that your scalp is more likely to burn. And I really don't want my scalp to burn, especially because I've got a lot of hair growth currently. I haven't bleached my hair in 3 months because I've had surgery, so it's really grown out. Like, the back is the only bit that's really got quite a lot of colour in it. The sides are all my natural colour. This is pretty much my natural colour. I've got a little bit of red on top, but not much. So I'm really excited to actually be able to bleach it again. Bleach wise, I used the Bleach London Plex bleach. I really like this bleach because it doesn't damage your hair as much. But yeah, that's enough for this intro. Let's go straight into bleaching my hair. I'm going to switch over to voiceover because I didn't want to talk the entire time I was doing my hair in case I woke up my sibling as they work at 6 AM. And that definitely wouldn't be very fair of me. As I said in the intro, I haven't bleached my hair in a very long time because I got top surgery. And I didn't want to have any risk of the bleach going into my incisions during the healing process. So I left my hair mostly alone. I did re-dye the ends of it at one point because it was really grown out and looked really weird being split dye. And I also just wanted it to be bright again because I'm really used to looking at myself with brightly coloured hair. I don't feel like I look like myself when it's half black and half pastel. It's just weird to me. But obviously this resulted in my hair being a lot more grown out than normal because I am very cursed with fast growing hair. Even when my hair was long as a kid, it would get so long so quickly. So it's not just because I have short hair, but with it being short, it looks a lot longer much more quickly. So I usually dye it every month and a half, but this time it had been 3 months. So because my hair is longer than it usually is when I bleach it, I decided to bleach it in 3 sections, starting with the middle section. Then I went on to my roots and then I did the ends. I was hoping this would avoid any dark banding in the middle section of my hair, and I do think this was mostly successful. I kind of did a bad job of the bleaching in general, but at least I had a good plan going into it that I stuck to. For the first round, I left the bleach on my hair for 10 minutes, and then for the second 2 rounds, I left it on for 15 minutes. I also added purple shampoo to the bleach mixture on the last round. This is something I started doing a couple years ago over my previously bleached hair, as in my head it means that it's going to cause as little damage as possible. Obviously it means the bleach doesn't strip the hair quite as well as I would like it to, but I'd personally rather have slightly healthier hair than broken, fried or stringy hair. That's the other reason why I don't like having pastel hair. I feel like you can see the damage more than with the bright colours. Mostly that's because it washes out really unevenly. Like, you can really tell it's not purposely pastel, but it does make me feel like I don't suit pastel hair. I've tried it once or twice, but I've never really stuck to it. Just like with blonde hair, I've had it a few times and I didn't stick to that for very long either. For me, I feel like blonde just makes my skin and my hair blend together too much. Like, I completely lose the lines of my hairline that I'm quite fond of, but obviously that comes back within a few days anyway, as my dark roots start reappearing very quickly. Saying that, I don't really like how my hair looks very freshly dyed for some reason. I like the smallest amount of darkness at my roots to give me more structure and dimension. If my hair was longer, I would try blending out the root into the dye instead of fully bleaching my head every time, but I don't have the hair nor the skills to do that currently. I can't even bleach the back of my head properly currently. You'll notice that in the end I have 2 dark patches on the back of my head that I just didn't catch until I was sitting with the last round of bleach on my hair and downloading all the footage onto my computer. And at that point I slapped a very thick layer of bleach over these sections, which definitely did help them fade out quite a bit, but they are definitely still there when I go onto the dyeing section. The dye pretty much cancelled them out. You can still tell it's there in some lighting, but for the most part I think it looks fine because my hair at the back kind of covers it. In saying that, I think it's time to go onto the dyeing portion of this hair transformation. I was originally going to put the dye in my hair on the same night as the bleach and then just wrap it in a plastic bag to sleep, but by the time my hair was all bleached it was 2:45 and I really wanted to sleep, so I did the dyeing the next day instead. Dye wise, I went with the Bleach London dyes in Tangerine Dream, which is the orange, and Slime Light, which is the green. I think the green may have some Manic Panic dye mixed into it because I periodically combine all my dyes so I don't end up with hundreds of them. I'm pretty sure the orange was new because the bottle looked untouched, but there's always a chance it was also a combination. I used to buy new hair dye every single time I did my hair instead of just checking what I already had, hence the bigger collection I needed to combine. But I've been getting better at only buying new colours when I actually run out of that colour. Or I just use colours that I already have, which is what happened here. Originally I was thinking of doing a green and yellow combination because those colours really bring out the vibrancy of each other really well. But I didn't have any yellow dye on hand, so I went with orange instead. It would have been very easy to go out and get yellow as they sell Bleach London in Boots around the corner from me. But I do think it's nice to keep my hair a little bit more affordable considering I do it so often. Dyeing wise, I did my usual split dye. It's the style that I definitely think suits me and my hair the most out of everything I've tried over the years. And I picked aside the colours would go on based on how well they've been bleached. I think because I'm right-handed, I always go a bit more heavy-handed on the bleach on my right side of my head. So the ends on this side are definitely lifted slightly better. So I went in with green on that side and then orange on the other side where the ends are slightly more red. I don't think I've ever really had an issue with colour going over old, very pastel colours before. I think that's mainly because I leave the dye in my hair for much longer than directed. I keep it in for at least 3 hours to get it as vibrant as possible. Whereas if I did it as directed, which is only 30 minutes, I think I may have more issues with the dye not fully covering the old contrasting colours. But like I just said, I do also keep the old colour in mind when picking the side to dye. So maybe they don't cover as well as I believe they do. And I'm just using colour theory more to my advantage than I think. Looking back at the footage while I'm recording this voiceover, I'm actually very impressed on how well I separated my hair this time around. I think it's usually much more off-center than this. Obviously it's not perfect. Nothing I do is ever perfectly straight for many reasons. But it's not bad for not doing my hair in 3 months, and it's definitely better than when I started out doing my own hair. I've been dyeing my hair randomly since I was around 11. Back then I was not allowed coloured hair in school, but my hair was so dark that the colours didn't really show up enough for anyone to see them anyways. So I never got in trouble for it. Then when I was 15, my parents allowed me to bleach my hair for the first time, and it went technically really bad, but to me it actually went really good because it came out yellow instead of blonde. And seeing as I wasn't allowed to have actually bright coloured hair, it felt like I kind of tricked the system, because everyone kind of just looked at it and assumed I'd done it terribly wrong rather than doing anything purposeful colour-wise. So none of my teachers ever commented on it or told me to dye it over. However, my mum did hate it and paid for me to have it professionally bleached when I was 16, and at that point it was like half blonde and half a very strange brown tone at the top, because they for some reason would bleach my entire head and then dye the roots back in. I will never understand what I said to make them do this. I think what I said was that I didn't want it bleached all the way to my head, and I meant that I didn't want them to put the bleach on my scalp, but they took it to mean that I wanted the roots to be blended into my hair, so they dyed the roots instead. But oh well, that was almost 10 years ago now, so it really doesn't matter at this point. And then from late 16 onwards, I moved into my 6th form, which is the last 2 years of school. And my 6th form didn't have any dress code whatsoever, so I could finally add all the colours I wanted into my hair. Back then, I actually had really long hair, so I would do random streaks of hair dye all over the place. And sometimes it came out really good, and other times it looked terrible, but I really do think that's a big part of growing up. I'm actually glad I didn't have perfect hair back then, because that would have made me stick to doing it one way instead of trying out all the different colours I did all the time. The only thing I didn't do when I was a kid was cut my hair. Despite how much I changed my hair, I didn't want to draw attention to myself. And yes, I know that kind of doesn't make much sense, but I was very, very shy and hated people talking about me, and I felt like cutting my hair would result in the entire school talking about my hair for the first time. So I waited until I was 18 to cut it, and then my sibling just kind of hacked it all off. I do really wish I'd cut it sooner, because it was really damaged and I didn't like it being long anyway. It felt like straw most of the time, so it's definitely healthier now because I cut off the majority of the bleach section every time I do it. So that was a very long and roundabout way of saying that I'm really happy with how far my hair has come since I started experimenting on it as a kid. And I'm also very happy that I'm still doing it even at 25, because honestly, I thought I'd have to give up dyeing my hair at this point. So it's just really fun being the most eccentric version of myself that 11-year-old me would just love. Anyways, I think that's it for this video. I do really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like down below, comment what else you'd like me to do, and subscribe as I post a new video every single week, and I'd love to see you again. But until then, bye!